Welcome back to the Spring to Life podcast. I'm Caitlin. I'm your host. I'm also your hormone health coach, fertility awareness educator, and Pilates instructor. I created the Spring to Life method in 2020 to help women embrace their cyclical nature, heal their hormones naturally, and live vibrantly. And this podcast is all about spreading that message in all different shapes and forms. And today I am excited to be joined by a special guest named Danielle. Danielle is a spiritual healer dedicated to helping lightworkers tap into their full potential. Using energy healing and somatic techniques, Danielle guides clients through powerful shadow work to overcome self-doubt, embrace their gifts, and step confidently into their purpose. Danielle emphasizes the importance of shadow work so you can experience more joy, freedom, and love in your life. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just so honored to be asked to be on your podcast. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you, and especially with like your niche and things that you talk about. I think it's so important when we're dealing with physical ailments to also address the spiritual side of things, because sometimes when you like hit that plateau and you feel like there's nothing else that you can do, it's because you're not looking in the right places. And what I've really been loving that you've been sharing lately is about your relationship with money and things like that. You've been sharing a lot about it in your stories, and it was really resonating with me. So maybe we can start there, and maybe you can kind of discuss like how you've been using your platform to kind of share this message.
Yeah. So money is such a huge topic for everybody. I never thought I'd be like openly sharing about it because I'm not like an expert by any means, but money is an energy, and it's not bad. It's not good. Like energy is just energy. And so when we can start to create a relationship with money, so maybe you're just like, I don't even want to look at it. Or maybe you're like, I look at it too much. I think about it too much, right? When you can start to create like a healthy relationship with it, where like maybe you're not having the experiences that you really want yet, but you also have to like create safety in the body around it. So I've been just sharing on my stories, just kind of what I've been moving through. I'm very big on like sharing what I'm moving through so that people are not like, I don't want people to think like, put me on a pedestal and think, oh, I've healed all these things. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to just like, I'm a human too. I'm moving through these things too. And money is part of our lives, and we cannot escape. We can't escape it, right? Money gives us freedom. It gives us the ability to invest in ourselves, in our health, in courses and programs, just things that we really desire in our lives, going on trips and traveling. And what I had been doing for myself is I had been denying this. I've been denying this to myself so much. And when it comes to my business and investing in my personal development, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I would be like, you know what? Either I don't really like to say I don't have the money, because I do, like even if it means investing with, a credit card or what, you know what I mean? Like I have access to a lot of money. I just don't use it all because I'm like, you know what? That would be irresponsible if I was like spending like $30,000 on something that like, that doesn't make sense for me. Right. But things that are maybe lower, maybe a couple $1,000s, like that's doable for me over 3 months, if I'm investing in a program. And yeah, I think I just was like, I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I'm just kind of done with this. And I've done a lot of healing around money, doing somatic work and energy healing and, the limiting belief work and mindset work, shadow work, all that stuff. Yeah. And I just kind of was like, yeah, I'm just kind of done with this, and like, I want to go on a trip. Like I desire this so badly for myself. And the cool thing was that I was like looking into Mexico, Costa Rica, because I have friends in both places. And then I was sharing with a friend who lives in San Diego, and I was like, yeah, like I really want to go on a trip. And she's like, why don't you just come visit me? She's like, you can stay here for free. I'm like, oh, abundance. Okay, what's up? And then we booked a trip to Joshua Tree, and Joshua Tree is not like the cheapest place in the world to go, but I was just like, F it, like this is something I really desire, and I'm just done with denying myself. And now I'm not being irresponsible with money. I'm not like overspending or, buying dumb things. But yeah, I just think it's really important for us to really say yes to our desires. Like, say yes to yourself. Say yes to what your soul is calling you to do. For me, I'm a generator. I get like, I can feel it in my body. Like my sacral lights up. My body is like, yes, like let's freaking go. And I'm like, and I know that's what I need to do. Same thing happened with my last mentor. I've invested in a lot of mentors. A lot of them were out of ego. They weren't out of like soul alignment. But this mentor, it was like my intuition said, you need to ask her if she still has spots open. And I did, and it was edgy for me because, you know, she told me the price and I was like, "Oh, that was not what I was expecting." Um, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it anyway, and it was the best freaking decision I had made pretty much with almost every mentor that I've worked with. And I was just like, yes, like let's go. And so many things, like it just sent me into this portal of just like really deep healing and letting go of so many limiting beliefs and things from childhood. And I literally like within 3 weeks, I'm just like, who am I now? Who am I? I'm like literally rediscovering who I am because I've been through so many death and birth portals, whatever word you want to use, and here I am now. And like, and then so many opportunities are coming to me, and like you asked me to be in your podcast. Like I have random people finding me on the internet wanting to work with me, and I'm just like, what like what is happening, you know? And I think there's such a link between money and saying yes to yourself. You know, you can do free things. There's tons of free things out there that are amazing that can light you up and make you feel, you know, obviously we don't want to get like feeling good from external things, but like, you know, having experiences, like that's super valuable to me. Experience over material things. Like I want the experience. I love to hike. I love to go to the most amazing, beautiful places and just be immersed in it. And I'm rugged. Like I love to camp. I love to backpack. Like I don't need much. Like I can be a dirty girl. And you know, like that's my own thing. Like I'm good with that. And yeah, and I just like experience is so important. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, like money is something that brings us these experiences. And so that's why I've really been sharing that on my stories is because like a lot of people, you know, you know, maybe they see someone's offering their services and they're like, oh, I can't afford that. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, completely different story. You're not, you know, that's not who is you're being promoted to, right? Like that you're not in a place where you're going to invest, but some people might because they're like, you know what? Like for me with this most recent investment, it was like, I'm saying yes to myself. I'm saying yes to myself. I am doing this. And, you know, maybe to someone else, I couldn't afford it, but, you know, the ROI was huge for me. And here I am. Right. And, so I love that you brought this up because like, yeah, money's just a huge topic and we have to just start to love on money and not, and I think because there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of scarcity and lack. And some people have scarcity where they overspend and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna put on a credit card and I just like, you know, I'm just gonna do whatever they spend because they're anxious and they have stuff from childhood and it's a soothing thing for them, right? We're always trying to find what's nourishing is not the right word, what's going to feel safe in our nervous system. So if you were modeled, if you were a child and you were modeled and you know, maybe your mom overspent, like she just kept spending, they didn't actually have the money, that's going to be imprinted on your nervous system because that's what you're seeing. And not always, sometimes you're the opposite and you go the complete opposite way and you're like, screw this, like I'm not going to live my life that way. But yeah, there's a lot of scarcity and lack. And then there's the other side of it where people are squirrels and they squirrel away all the money, which is me. When, you know, when I have a lot of like money coming in, it's like I squirrel it away. Whereas now, like I'm going to invest it because I'm like, well, if I invest it, then my money's going to grow. That's how investing works, right? Whether that's investing in a mentor, whether it's investing like financially. Yeah.
Yeah, I love all of your insight on that. And I think it kind of makes you think, like you're saying, like some people kind of squirrel it away or like are really protective of it. And that's good in a certain sense, because of course you need to save for a rainy day or an emergency or whatever it is. But when you start to think about it as like a finite resource, that's kind of when you start to run into some trouble, because something that I've begun to understand over the past couple of years is that money is something that flows because it, like you were saying, it does allow us to, you know, experience different things or, you know, take ourselves into different places. It opens up opportunities. And if you're not going to be open to investing in that opportunity, you're never going to be able to expand beyond what you have in front of you. So it does take a little bit of trust in yourself, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, big time. And another thing they were talking about, like money flowing, is like it flows to the path of least resistance. So if someone else, if two people have the same idea, right? But you are really closed off and you're like, oh, like money, it freaks me out. Like, I don't know, I don't want to look at it. And then this other person's like, and they're less qualified and they're just like throwing, things out there. Money's going to go to that person who's really open to it. And that's why like a lot of, like people who grow up really wealthy, like they're just always around money. And so they're like, yeah, of course, like money's everywhere. Like I always have
Mm-hmm.
money, right? Because that's their mindset. Another thing that keeps coming through right now is the word currency. So like currency, so like money being watery and flowy, but also so there's a debate between money being masculine and money being feminine, and I think it's both. Right? It's an energy, and every energy I would say has both masculine and feminine qualities to it. Even when you tap
Mm-hmm.
into like divine feminine energy, like there's still some masculine to it. Um, but yeah, like the feminine side of it, it's very flowy. It flows to you. If you're open to it, it flows. But then it's like you're the vessel that's going to be taking it in. So if your vessel is confident and really just grounded and rooted in like money loves me, money flows to me. I'm able to call in this much money every single month. It's going to flow to you because you're the container essentially. So you're the masculine and the money is the feminine. It's just like and there's so many different viewpoints on this. It's just kind of like what's coming through right now is like it's both. It's kind of both.
No, I love that. I haven't actually heard of the debate between masculine and feminine energy in terms of money, but I feel like that makes sense. And I do think it has to be both because you have to have some structure around how you are managing your money, but you also have to have some like trust in yourself, like we were saying, and maybe some creativity in
Mm-hmm.
in how you're going to use it. And I think it's interesting what you said about people that grow up wealthy and they're just so used to having money around. So that's just their like
It's their like base
baseline
level.
baseline mindset. And I think especially our economy is kind of wacky right now, and there is a big divide between wealthy people and people that are living paycheck to paycheck or below the poverty line. And it's not to say that you just have to shift your mindset, but that is a huge part of it, because if you're constantly, yes, you need to like make sure that your needs are covered and all of these things. But if you're constantly stressing about it and feeling that money is scarce, you're just perpetuating that experience for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing for me with like shifting out of the scarcity was like I do a lot of EFT tapping, I do a lot of somatic work, and those two together have been really helpful in creating safety around money because I'm like, wait a minute. Also, the biggest piece is probably just like trusting myself and trusting God, source, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call your higher power, because there has never in my life been a time where I didn't have enough, where there's been times where I've overdrafted, you know what I mean? But like where I really
But
didn't
it
have
always ends
enough,
up being
where I could,
okay.
yes. And so even when things can get tight or you're just like, or you're like, there's been something in my life where I've been kind of like, I'm not worrying about it, but it's there. The tab is open. I'm like, like I need some like concreteness here with this situation, with my living situation. And I, yeah, I was kind of relying on someone else. And then I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to take the action steps myself. I'm kind of done like relying on other people. Like I just want to like trust myself that I can do this myself. And got some confirmation yesterday. I'm like, okay, we're good. Like I literally like we're good. And yeah, I'm not gonna get into details about it, but it's just like, but I wasn't freaking out. I just kind of need like that certainty, right? But I also was certain that everything was gonna work out the way it needed to, and that whatever the universe was going to bring me, and it was going to be exactly what I needed. And that has been a really, really hard thing for me for ever since I kind of like shifted my life from being in plant ecology and traveling and just going where the wind took me. And then I put down roots when I was young. I was like 24, and everything, like my like connection, everything was like, no. And I just stopped trusting. And, now I'm 33. So it's been a long time. It's been almost 10 years where now I'm at a place where I'm just like, no, 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 I trust. And I know that whatever's meant for me is going to find me. It can't miss me. And that I'm always supported no matter what.
I love that. And you mentioned like EFT and somatic techniques, right? I was going to ask you if there was anything people can do if they want to start to like shift their mindset around this. You see like affirmations and things like that, but how far does that take you, right?
So yeah, so affirmations are fine, but they don't get into the subconscious. They don't get into the nervous system. So with somatic therapy and EFT tapping, your EFT tapping is more working with the meridians, the energy channels in your body, but it's also really regulating for the nervous system. I'm also an energy healer. That's primarily my work, but I mix it all together. But yeah, with EFT, it's regulating for the nervous system. So you can tap on, so if you don't know what EFT tapping is, you tap on these meridian points. A lot of them are in your face, which is helpful for the vagus nerve. If you have, adrenal issues or health issues or any of that stuff, like EFT tapping is going to be amazing for you to calm you down. And then there's somatics where you're really getting into the body. And so for myself and my clients, we're all very intuitive. So and even so, I did do a session with my sister, and she was like, I don't know if anything's going to come through because she's so disconnected from her intuition. But she actually had a lot of really amazing stuff come up for her and little baby things, right? Like we don't need to dig at anything. We're just seeing what does the body want to tell me today? What does my intuition want to tell me today? And that is the somatic work has been so life changing for me. So energy work, I've been doing energy healing for like 4 years now. It's amazing. I love it. I can do some crazy shit, but um somatics is like it's so empowering because if you're a client, you're doing this too. Like you're being led and you're being guided. And I also use energy healing while I'm doing somatic work with my clients, but like you're pulling this stuff out of the body. So, we store emotions, we store these, traumas, limiting beliefs, and all that stuff in the body, in the fascia, in the tissue, in our energy centers, so our chakras, in our auric field, but we can release them. So just like we can take them on, we can release them. And body work, like it's not body work, but like somatic work is so powerful because you're bypassing your logical mind. It's your intuition. It is your body telling you. And we can ask like, some people will see images, they'll see, traumas from their, but not traumas, but they'll like just get, oh, okay, this is what this is related to. And this is related to my mom. And this situation that happened when I was a kid. Or people can just see colors or they'll get a feeling or a texture and just with the breath and energy healing and intention, we can just release it out of the body and you come out of it and you feel so amazing because you're like, wow, all this heaviness is now out of my body. And it's so simple. Anybody can do it. You can literally just like get into a meditative state, get relaxed. You can sit, you can lay down, but ask your body, okay, where am I holding tension? And you might feel a pain, you might feel a pain, you might feel like literally like pulling. You might see a location in your body that's lighting up and you're like, okay, like meaning in your third eye, so your eyes are closed and you're like, oh, okay, I have tension here in my, my left pec. And okay, well, what does it look like? Does it have a color? Does it have a feeling? Does it have a texture? Is there an event? Is there a limiting belief? Like what's coming up for you? And just asking your body. And I think with this process, you start to learn to trust yourself and trust your intuition. Because intuition is your body talking to you as well. It's also your angels, your guides, whatever you resonate with, and God. But yeah, I think just getting into the body, it's been the most life-changing for me. Like I am like, whoa, with combination of energy healing for sure. Because I don't just do somatic healing with myself and with my clients. I do it combined. So I just call it somatic energy healing because it's all intertwined. And it's just like the most wild, amazing, powerful way to shift your reality. And that's what's been happening for myself and my one-to-one clients right now. It's like, they're just like, I am in a different reality. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Like, and we're doing it quick and it doesn't have to be painful. It can also be fun. For me, it's been really, really, really fun doing this work on myself because it just feels like it's time and it's ready, and whatever's meant to come up is going to come up. And yeah, I'm going to cry. Yeah, some things are like, oh my God, I didn't know that was going on. Like, I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know that's the reason why this was going on. But yeah, it's just such powerful work, and I can just talk about it for forever. So I'll stop there.
No, it's okay. I find that so fascinating. I'm glad you kind of went into those details, because this is actually something that I've been kind of thinking about how I want to start to bring up with my audience, because I talk a lot about how I have overcome a lot of chronic pain, especially in my upper back, like from the base of my skull to like my mid rib cage. And before I started doing Pilates, I was just so weak, and I was constantly having these migraines, and I just was always in pain in my back. And I was like, okay, I got to do something about it. That's when I went down the route to become a Pilates instructor. And that helped tremendously, but not 100%. And it wasn't until I really accepted, and I had been, getting massage therapy and I'd seen an acupuncturist, and I started dabbling in breath work, but it wasn't until I fully accepted that I was holding so much grief in my body that, and I had to like really process through a lot of emotions. And even like you start talking about it, it makes you emotional. But that was a huge thing that I had to integrate into the like physicality of healing my body. And it's like, I've been talking to a lot of people that they're like, oh, I can't really like do any exercise because it'll trigger a migraine, or I have so much pain. And I know that I can help them with Pilates, but there's also like, there's got to be something underlying that's going on that is causing so much of that tension. But it also takes the person being open to kind of exploring that. So you kind of mentioned with your sister that she's not as into the woo woo as you are. So how, like, do you work with, how often do people come to you where they're not, like, I would imagine that most of the people that come to you are ready for that breakthrough.
Yeah. Yeah. So my sister's been going through like insane health stuff. She had a very difficult childhood, meaning like we had the same childhood, same upbringing, but she was highly sensitive, didn't have the support that she needed. I was not highly sensitive. I don't identify as a highly sensitive person or an empath. And she was like the black sheep. Just life was so hard for her. And I was like this happy-go-lucky, happy person. Okay. So she has a lot of anxiety, depression. She had traumas that happened when she was an adult, and they had her on benzos. I don't know what the full name is, but it's an anti-anxiety, and you're only supposed to be on them for like 2 to 4 weeks. It's an emergency thing. They had her on for 8 years, and so your body, your nervous system is dependent on it. Like she doesn't want it, but her body's addicted to it, and she has to get off of it. And it's hell. It is absolute hell. Like I don't wish that on anybody. And I was like, she was talking to me because she talks to me a lot about this stuff. And I was like, we really need to do some inner child stuff, because this is where it all starts. This is where, anyways, we're very different people. And I was just like, I'm going to support you. And she's not open to energy healing. So I actually had to like turn it off. I had to make sure like I was not using it. And I just had to respect that for her, which was hard, but also like she still had a really powerful experience. And so she literally was like, I don't know if anything's going to come through. And I was like, that's okay. Like, we're just going to go through a meditation. You're just going to tune into what your body's telling you. And she had a lot come up. And it's also helpful because like we grew up together. So like and also just being intuitive and psychic, like I have things coming through for me for her, to help guide her. But, so she's really the only person that I've worked with that's not super intuitive. But even then, because my energy in general is really grounding, and it's really like loving and open, and it makes you, and this is even without my energy healing, right? Like she also trusts me. I'm her sister. We love each other. But when I work with people, I have a very deep connection to earth energy. And so it's so grounding that even if you're like, I'm not intuitive, I'm not connected to my intuition, nothing's going to come up, something's going to come up for you, because I get your body into a grounded, regulated place just naturally. Like I'm not trying, like it's just what happens. And your body, your nervous system feels so safe. It's like, oh, people say it's like a warm hug. It feels like a weighted blanket is on me. I feel like I'm being pulled down into the earth. And so it's like your nervous system opens up and says, oh, oh my God, I can relax now. Oh my gosh, I can listen to what needs to come through. Okay, now we can share this with her so she can see and she can have the awareness and we can release it. And it's so powerful because like this is the work that's going to change the world, I think. And there's so many different modalities, but to feel that feeling and I mean, like some of my clients who are really intuitive, they're like tripping, like they're like, I saw this and I saw this and I saw this and I was hearing this and like this was happening in my body, but that's not the goal. Like the goal is to really see what is there beneath all of the pain, what's beneath the physical pain, what's beneath the physical issues. So much stuff stems from childhood. Most of it stems from childhood, but also if you have trauma as an adult or a teenager, right? Like that's a factor too. But so many of like our limiting beliefs really stem from childhood, and it's such an amazing gift to have to be able to create safety for people because life for most of their lives has not felt safe. They've been at like scarcity and lack around money, worrying. When something happens to you, especially as a child, it's reliving in your nerve. It just keeps playing over and over and over and over and over again in the nervous system. But you're an adult now. And so it's like really have to get to a point where you're like, I'm ready for that freedom. I'm ready to feel at peace. I'm ready to let go of this because I don't want to live this way anymore. And I don't really like to talk to people's pain. Like I want to talk to where you can be like freedom and joy and happiness and love and moving through life. And I'm not saying things aren't going to come up and like shit's not going to be tough, but like you can move through that with groundedness and in peace. And you're like, okay, I'm here, this is happening, but I'm not freaking out. Like, I'm okay. And to
Mm-hmm.
feel okay, even when there's a shitstorm around you, is really, really, really powerful because you can move through it with more grace. And that doesn't mean you're not going to break down. You're going to have a moment. We all do. We have times where we're just like, I can't anymore. Like, can we just like put this on pause for a second? But to move through life with great, like just with grace and flow and it's really like for me, what keeps just like really strongly, it's just very much at my heart right now that I'm feeling it is just like to feel at peace and to feel so regulated. And obviously we get dysregulated at times, but to mostly feel like, okay, like that, like I said, like that, oh, my nervous system can relax. I can, yeah.
I think, no, that's so great. And I loved how you described that. And it made me think like, I wonder if there are like certain like milestones that we get to in our life that it's kind of like a turning point. Like either you have to deal with these things going on with your nervous system or like things fall apart. I know for me, like being in a relationship has been a huge mirror. And it was like, okay, either I'm going to figure this stuff out or this is going to fall apart around me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that when you're working with people, they're kind of at these kind of like crossroads in their life, or are people coming to you more, I don't want to say willingly, but other like just seeking you out before something occurs? And I guess with your platform, you're also like reaching people and making them aware of it sooner.
Yeah. So it's a blend. Like I have I guess so. We'll rewind back to 2020. I was health coaching. So one of my long-term clients, who she's been working with me on and off for the past 4 years, she came to me, had gut issues. We worked on that. And then we started moving into the spiritual stuff as I moved away from health coaching. And so for this specific client, she's not like, there's no like, shit's falling apart. It's just kind of like, I want to keep growing with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have other clients where they come in and they're like, things are really bad. And like, I really need support. So like long-term clients, usually they're on the other side of it, but they're just like, I want to grow. And I think, I don't know, it depends because I do have a lot of like one-off clients that come back and then not as many long-term clients, like meaning like in a, 3 or 6 month container. But with I would say a lot, it's split because I have a lot of clients that come and they're like, hey, I'm just kind of moving through this thing. I really love support, but they're already very aware. So a lot of people I work with are healers already. So they've been doing this work. I have less people come in who are not healers, who are more just like regular people. I don't mean that in any way. I'm just like people who are not aware. But people do, do have people come in where like things are bad and they're like, I really need support. I really need help. And that's where when that's a one-to-one client, like we're in a container, it's a lot of nervous system work first. Like we might not necessarily get into it. Maybe nervous system and like energy healing. We're not necessarily usually the second second week we get into the deep stuff because it's like they don't need much time to have their nervous system feel safe. But yeah, it's definitely a blend. I attract a lot of people, but I just really switched my niche where I'm like just focusing on healers who are at a place where, and that doesn't mean that other people can't work with me. Obviously, I'm very open to other people working with me because this work is so powerful. But yeah, I really am like speaking to healers right now they are conscious of this. But then there's also the people who've been, they're healers, they're, Reiki practitioners, and they're still just like stuck, and then they'll come and they'll be like, help me, help me, so yeah, it's a blend.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a true testament to your work too, that like other healers trust you to take them through that process and like look to you as a guide. I think that's also speaks to their work too, that they are willing to like dive into that, because I think, anybody that you're working with should also be like honing their own skills or taking care of their own body in a certain way. So, I know you have a program coming up where you're going to be working with healers. So what does that kind of entail, if there are any?
So this program is called Unlocked. This is the work that I've been doing that has just really transformed and unlocked so much for me. It's a 3-month program and it's a hybrid group. But what we're really doing is this is for healers who are ready to feel so confident in themselves and their gifts that they're showing up fully online, that they're showing up to lives. And that's a big thing, is not caring who's there on the live, right? Just knowing I am serving. These are heart-led healers. If you're a healer, typically, not everyone, but you're heart-led and you want to serve. And it's like feeling so confident in your medicine and the gifts that you have to share with the world. Like that's a big piece of this. Another big piece that I see with a lot of healers, women in general, business owners, is feeling unworthy. So it's like really cultivating a deep sense of self-worth and that you are worthy of all your desires, that you can call in, like you can have those random people finding you they're just searching for you on on Instagram, and they're like, hey, I'm going to book a session, or hey, I want to work with you one-to-one. Having random opportunities come up, like having so many synchronicities come into your life. Like that's what this program is about, is really like stepping into your fullness, into your power and your purpose, because you are here to help other people heal. You are here to show up fully, authentically. We're going to talk about money. We're going to do money healing. It's like, it's really everything that encompasses being a healer, and the things that the trials and tribulations we have to go through, and the things that we have to heal to get to a place where we feel really, really firm and sturdy and grounded in who we are and our being, and then being able to share that with other people. Yeah. So I'm so excited about it. It's an application process, so I want to make sure that the right people are in there with me. But yeah, we started in March and I'm super excited for it because it's so good. And so, okay, I'll give a little bit more details. So it's weekly group calls, and it's also hybrid. So you'll have 2 one-to-one calls with me. Weekly group calls we'll be doing somatic work together, energy healing. Everything I do is really like guided meditation style. Like it's all blended in there. Very powerful. And then when we're in a group, energy is amplified, which is amazing. And then I can't do a group program without a one-to-one option. So yeah, it limits me money-wise, but each person, it's so important to me that each person gets the support that they need, because what is in your body and your nervous system and your energy from your, your past lives, your childhood, is so different from someone else. And so I want to make sure that we are getting into that and we are releasing whatever needs to release so that you can really fully step into your power and your purpose. And that's, yeah. And we're unlocking shit. Okay. We're unlocking it. We're unlocking the amazingness, the joy, the fun, the freedom, the excitement for your life. Because that's what it's about. I mean, it's about having fun and having freedom, right? Having time freedom, money freedom, like being your own boss. Like these things are so amazing and liberating. And so that's what that's what this program is about, to support other healers.
Well, that sounds very exciting, very powerful. I'll make sure that we get the application in the show notes in case anybody listening is intrigued by that and wants to get into that container, because it sounds like it's going to be very worth it to be in your energy and in your space. Has drawn me to you. We've been connected online for probably going on 4 years now, at least.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I know you know Lily, so I'm going to pull her into the conversation, but you guys have, I know you do different types of energy healing, but you have a similar groundedness to your work, and you're very connected to nature. And I think that's what makes you so appealing, at least for me, where it's like your spirituality is grounded in the here and now. Like we're meant to be here now, and you can find healing within the natural world. Can you, for anybody that's listening that maybe is like, I don't really understand what you're talking about, could you maybe give a little bit of an explanation of like the difference between how you're so rooted in the natural world, where some other people in the spiritual space are a little bit more head in the clouds, I guess you could say?
Yeah, I sure can. I love talking about this. So I'd say they're in the spiritual space. There's three types of energies, we'll say, of people. So there's people who are super grounded and they're like, I love Earth. I love being here. It's amazing. There's so much beauty here. There is the other person who is, like you said, head up in the clouds, where I want to go home. They're very cosmic. They are not very present. Like I said, they say, I want to go home, meaning I want to go back to the stars. Like our soul, we have a soul, and I believe that we have many lives. Like we've had many soul lives on other planets and just spirits, whatever. And then we also get to come down to Earth, and each time we're on Earth, we're a different person. We have a different experience, and our soul is evolving with each incarnation, whether you're spirit or you're human. But there are people that really just love being up in the ethers, astral traveling, astral projecting, meaning like their energy's leaving their body. You're always connected. There's a silver cord that connects you, but like astral traveling and like going to other places, and it's cosmic. And I've done that stuff before, but at my core, I'm super grounded. And then there's the people in the middle where they kind of flow between the two. So sometimes they're in a space where they're super grounded and they're so connected to the earth. And then other times they're like in this other world and you're not really like here. So like you're not here, you're like, yeah, physically your body is on earth, but you're not mentally and energetically here and present. And a lot of people who are like that, I would say, do deal with like more chronic illness stuff, because they're like not in their body and they're not connected to their body. And like I said, like I love Earth. Like I saw something yesterday, someone was posting like, oh, you're an old soul and like this is going to be your last incarnation on Earth. And I was like, it's not my last incarnation on Earth. There's no way. Like I love Earth. Like I'm an old soul, but like I know I got more in me. Okay. Like I know my soul's more in me because I want to come back here. Even though there's a lot of pain and suffering, right? I'm not bypassing that. We all have it. We all deal with it. There's a lot of pain and suffering going on in the world that we don't even know the half of it. But I just think that we can't let all of that make us be like, I don't even want to be here anymore. And I think there's a lot of that energy. And I think it's really important to enjoy your experience on earth as much as you possibly can. Like I said, things are gonna come up in life and they're not gonna be fun, right? There's gonna be hard times. That's kind of what life is about. It's about learning to grow through the hard times. And um yeah, I just like, I don't know. I mean, I love trees. Like trees are I don't know. I love trees. So like I love putting my third eye on trees and hugging trees and touching the bark and just looking how beautiful they are. Like last night I was just like staring at my snake plant because I was like, she's so gorgeous. Like, and being present and just I love being out in nature and I go and I sit and I meditate. There's a wildlife refuge by my apartment and I go out there and I just then I watch the squirrels and listen to the birds and like I just love being here. And I think it's hard for me to comprehend how people just like don't want to be here and they want to be super out of their bodies, but like we heal in the body. Because like the healing, like everything that you desire like is in the body. But everything that has happened to you that you haven't processed is also in the body. So we can get to the place that we want to go. So like obviously we're always like we're never happy. We're just like I want to go to the next level, you know what I mean? But like we can get to where we want to go when we go within, right? When we meditate, which meditation can bring you up, of course, but also just focusing on the sensations in your body and just being here in the now and touching your body, not in a sexual way, just like literally touching your body, like being like, whoa, thank you. Like you're housing my soul. Like this is amazing. Like thank you for this experience. So yeah, I think, and I also think like being a really grounded energy. I'm not crazy into astrology. I don't totally resonate with it, but I have a lot of Virgo in my chart. Like I'm super Virgo, but only in certain ways. Like I'm very nurturing Virgo. I love Earth. Very right. So in that sense, like I'm super, super earthy. But there's many aspects of it that I don't resonate with. I'm not type A. I'm like super type B. But yeah, like I don't know. I just think that like why wouldn't you want to be here? Why wouldn't you want to be in your body? And but it does create a really special space for someone who does even just like talking to people. Like we're just talking. Like my intention before we hopped on here is that like you and your listeners are feeling my grounded energy and you're feeling the love coming from me and that, like helping you just feel grounded and regulated because that's really like that's what we need. Like we need as a collective, we need as individuals as well. And yeah, yeah, Earth, Earth is good.
Earth is good. Thank you
Earth
for
is good.
sharing all of
Yeah.
that and like kind of going into the different energies of spirituality because like I said, like, somebody is on a healing journey and focusing so much on the physical and then maybe starts to peel back the layers of investigating that spiritual side. I know that's where I was a couple years ago and I grew up going to church, but that didn't resonate with me. That was something that I was like, I don't know. I guess I would have said I was agnostic
Yeah.
before, but then I kind of got introduced to more of these spiritual ideas and delving into the shadow work and all of that stuff. And it is really important, but I think I was too much exposed to that kind of like cosmic head in the clouds type of energy where it got to the point where I felt like I was sinking deeper into like the shadows of things. And it was like, I felt like I was getting worse instead of better.
Mm.
Maybe if I had continued down that path, I eventually would have found the light at the end of the tunnel, but it didn't feel good to me. So I kind of I was like, okay, I need to put this away. And I started to just, listening more to you and to Lily and just like seeing the beauty around me in nature and just realizing that like so much of what I want in life is already here. So much of the beauty is already here. And kind of just like releasing some of the grip on like what is next and what is the next thing and where, all of the ether that you can kind of get like sucked into.
Oh yeah.
Because then it almost becomes, you're like constantly wondering, like, is this the right choice? And is, evaluating everything to like too much of a degree. And so I think it's like we're here on this planet. Like it makes so much sense to just be I don't know if I want to say be one with the natural world, but like expose yourself to it as much as possible. Like we know the science behind grounding and how healing that can be for the body. So I think the work that you're doing is so important in the way that you spread that light.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I know you've got your group program coming up. If people are interested in like learning more about what you do and like connecting with you, are you still offering like one-on-one healing sessions? Are you mostly doing your live? I know you do lives on Instagram pretty frequently. How can people like connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram a lot, guys. So hop on there. It's Danielle Sims. And Caitlin will have that, in the show notes. I am on live a lot, so I feel like that's an amazing way to just experience what I do. It's not super in depth, right? Because we're just on live together and we're just like kind of vibing. I'm chatting with you. We're doing some healing work together. Yeah, it's just good. It's a good way to be in my energy. Right now, I am not taking one-off sessions because I'm really in a state of just really feel like I can make the most massive impact when I'm working with people in a long container. So, 3 months, 6 weeks, 3 months, like in 6 weeks, a lot can change. For people who are, balling on a budget and they're like, okay, I want I want to work with you, but I'm also like, maybe a bigger investment is scary. So yeah, that's really what I'm doing. I have this group program and yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram. I don't have a website because that never really resonated with me. So yeah, but it's nice to be like, oh, you can go on my website here. But yeah, Instagram is a great way to connect with me. I'm obviously, you've heard me talk this whole time, really friendly. I love talking. I love having things to respond to. Like questions are my favorite. Like ask me all the questions. I will give you an amazing answer. A very in-depth answer. Yeah, like don't if you resonate with me and the work I do, like please come join me in my little world. I keep saying like as I rise, you rise, like the people that are ready to, if you're really ready to live a different life, like in a good way, like live a different life and see life from a different lens where you see the freedom that you have and you are present with what you were doing and you want to have more fun and you want to experience more joy. Like I keep repeating myself, but that is what this work does for you. And obviously we go very deep into your psyche, your past, and we release so much of this stuff, and some of it we don't even need to know what it is. But yeah, it's really powerful work and I just love that I get to do it. So yeah, hopefully you come and join me.
Yes, thank you for sharing your light and your energy on the show. And you guys, if you're listening, Danielle shares so much information in her Instagram stories. Like she is constantly sharing so much juicy information and just like things to think about that, might shift your mindset a little bit. So I highly recommend giving her a follow, checking out her stories, checking out her Instagram lives. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we wrap things up?
Oh, what a good question. I think I just want you all to be present today. And I know life is crazy and you might have kids and jobs, and obviously we all have jobs, but I just want you to take a moment. If you're here listening to this, unless you're driving, I just want you to close your eyes right now. And I just want you to start breathing and just taking a moment of being here and tuning into your heart space. And just allowing every breath to open up your heart more and more and more. Just reminding yourself that you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are worthy. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to fix anything. And that your next steps will be laid out for you. You trust yourself, you trust God, source, spirit, and that all the healing is within you and you are so powerful you take anything from this today, I just want to remind you that you are so powerful and you can change your life when you do this work, when you decide, yes, this is it. This is what I want for my life. This is what I want my life to look like. This is how I want to be. This is how I want to show up. That is possible for you. And you can open your eyes and come back. So I hope everybody has a fabulous day and you felt some love for yourself because you are worthy of receiving the love that you give to others so freely. I think that's a big thing for a lot of people as we're really hard on ourselves, and it's time to start seeing how amazing you are, seeing how gifted you are, being proud of yourself for how far you've come, even if it feels like you've only taken one baby step. That's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Caitlin.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that beautiful message. That was such a perfect way to end this conversation. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to the audience for listening or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you are following and subscribe to the Spring to Life podcast so you get new episodes delivered to you every week. And I'll talk to you next week.